Hello, welcome back to the channel. This is a channel where we give you reviews, playthroughs, unboxings, and we generally like to talk a lot of bollocks. So we'll talk gaming in general. In this video, we're going to be talking about a game by Vladimir Suchy, and we're going to be talking about Pulsar 2849. And in this game, you will be doing a variety of space-themed actions that will give you victory points that will allow you to win the game. So in this video, we're going to be giving you a very brief overview of the rules, we'll be telling you what we do like, what we don't like, and we'll come back and we'll tell you whether or not Pulsar 2849 is worth your time and bother today and in the future. So remember, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to this channel. Leave a comment in that section down below. See ya after this. Bollocks. So, Pulsar 2849. How'd you play this game? So Pulsar 2849 is a dice drafting game. It's in the similar vein to games like Marco Polo and all those sort of dice drafting games, right? So this game's split over 3 phases. The first phase is the dice phase, the second phase is the action phase, and the third phase is the production phase, where you'll be getting your victory points, right? So in the dice phase, what you do, you roll all the dice. You're going to get 7 dice for 2 or 3 players. You're going to get 9 dice for 4 players, right? You're going to roll them all, and then you'll line them all up in the relevant spots on the board, and then you have to find the median number, right? All you stupid idiots out there, the median number is the middle number, right? So you're going to line them all up in a row, and then you'll find the middle die, and you'll place the median marker on that spot, right? Then what you do, you cover up all the dice. You'll check to see if there's more dice on that side, more dice on that side, and if there's more dice on that side, you'll move the median marker 1 space that way. And yeah, you guessed it, if there's more dice on that side, you move the median marker 1 space that way, right? Then in turn order, you will choose your dice, right? The first player will draft a single die, and the second player will do it, and then the third player will do it, and then you'll select your second die in reverse turn order. Every time you take a die, right, you'll have to move either your marker on the turn order track or the engineering track 1 space left or right, depending on which side of the median marker you chose a dice from, right? The turn order track will mean that the higher up you are, the more chance you got of choosing your actions first. And the engineering track will give you energy cubes that not only could be used for victory points at the end of the game, right, and for various things in the game, but you also at any time be able to trade in for these cubes to use a red bonus die. You can only ever use 1 red bonus die on your turn, and these come from different places. You might have them on a transmitter, you might have them on a technology track, you might even be able to pluck one out of your arsehole. I do that all the time, right? So once you've done the dice phase, then you will move on to the action phase. So the first action you can do is you can fly your supply ship. What you do, you choose one of your dice, and then you'll move your little ship marker that many spaces around the map, right? If you move over one of the planetary systems, and you'll flip it over, and then you'll have to place one of your markers on one of the dead worlds. And if you finish your movement on one of these planetary systems, you'll flip it over, but you'll be able to place one of your markers on one of the blue planets, and that means that you'll be able to take the reward, right? So it's in your interests to flip as many of these as possible, because you get victory points for the amount of markers that you've got on different systems at the end of the game, but it's better to land on them because you're going to get rewards as well, right? So when you land on a Pulsar, you'll be able to put your ring on the Pulsar, right? Not that type of ring, for God's sake, every bloody time, innit? And this is the first stage of building a gyrodyne, right? You'll be able to pay a die of a different value for a different size gyrodyne tile, right? And you'll place that in your ring, right? And then you'll be able to use a subsequent die to flip that tile over, and that will give you victory points in the production phase, because every time you see a green symbol, you're going to activate that in the production phase, right? So the next thing you can do is you can take a transmitter. There'll be 3 transmitters available each round, and then you'll take one. You have to pay the value of the die that is on the transmitter. If there's 1 symbol, you'll be able to flip it straight away, and you'll get the benefit on the reverse. If there's 2 dice, you have to pay the other dice before you can flip it, right? These give you quite tasty benefits. It might be that you get points immediately, or you might get cubes or victory points during the production phase, right? And you can also get bonus dice from these. You'll more often than not half a die on each of the ends of this, and when you join them together, that will provide you with a red bonus die that you can use on your turn, right? So the next thing you could do is you could patent a technology. Dependent on what round you're on, there'll be different technologies unlocked. You'll place one of your markers on that technology, and that will either give you a permanent benefit, or it might give you an ongoing benefit, or it might give you something during the production phase, right? There's loads and loads of different technologies, 4 different technology tiles that you can use. And the next thing you can do is you can complete an HQ project, right? This is sort of like a 7 Wonders Jewel type thing. In order to access the projects that are higher up the pyramid, you will have to have completed the projects that are below, right? These are sort of like generic sort of things. It might give you extra dice. It might give you something called a gate run, where you'll be able to activate that project and then use a survey ship action to move through the specified gates, and you'll get a certain amount of points for each gate that you pass through. Once you've used both of your dice and or a bonus die, then you move on to the production phase. You'll determine the new order of play based on where the markers are on the turn order track. You'll hand out engineering cubes based on the order of the markers on the engineering track. You'll get points for any ongoing benefits on the transmitters. You'll get points for any gyrodynes that are operational. You'll score points for any technologies that you dumped your load on. And then you'll advance a time marker, and if you get to the end of round 8, then the player with the most victory points will be the winner of Pulsar 2849, right? So what do we like about Pulsar 2849? So the first thing that we really like about this game is there's so many options available to you. In a way, it's sort of mind-boggling in a sense, because there's so many different variables. You never really know what dice are going to be rolled, and you don't know where that medium marker is going to be. So whilst it's good to try and plan ahead, your plans might be disrupted by those die rolls, right? But that doesn't really matter too much in this game, because there's so many different options, so many different actions that you can take. If you add to that the amount of variability that's in this game, I mean, there's 4 different technology tiles that are going to be used. There's loads and loads of transmitter tiles that are going to be used. You've got all the different double-sided gold tiles that are in the game that give you a focus from the beginning to the end of the game. And also the main board is also double-sided, and it's got dead ends in there as well to add to the tactical nature of the game, right? So this is a game that has got so many options. It's probably the game that's got the most options, apart from sort of games like Averna, right? But for a Euro game, there's just so many things going on, so many options to choose from. It's absolutely fantastic. So the second thing that we like about this game, and this leads on from the last point that we made, is that the bonus die opens up even more options, because you're potentially going to be having 8 extra actions throughout the game, right? The fact that you can modify your dice as well means that you can modify the bonus die and chain actions together that will allow you to get more and more victory points, right? So you're constantly trying to think ahead, thinking maybe I need to get those die modifiers just in case the number 1 comes up, but that's going to affect my position on the turn order track. That may mean I'm not going to be able to take that die, so I've got to push myself up there. Might be thinking about getting all those engineering cubes. Might be useful for the gold tiles, but also might be useful to mimic the die that was left over, right? So the bonus die for me makes the game, and if it weren't in there, it would break the game. So the final thing that we like about Pulsar 2849 is the clever use of the median die as a neat balancing mechanism, right? Because the die that you're after is directly correlated to the dice that you don't want. So do you choose a lower die to push yourself up one of them tracks, or do you choose a higher die that's going to allow you to get the more lucrative actions like activating the level 3 gyrodyne tiles, right, and take the hit on one of the tracks? So there's this constant weighing up of what is going to be more beneficial and more efficient for you. So what don't we like about Pulsar 2849? So the first thing that we don't like about it is that the final scoring can be a little bit mind-boggling, right? Maybe not for you, but it definitely is for me. Every time I play this, it feels like I'm lost in the maze at Black Gang Chine, like I was when I was a kid. True story. It's just a suffocating experience trying to tot up all the different victory points. And if you add to that the score tracker, it's easy to miss those really, really thin lines. To find the final scoring in this a bit of a chore. So the second thing we don't like about this game is that on occasion you're going to be rolling a load of shit on the dice. There's not going to be any really decent options for you to take. Like we played this the other day, and I think we rolled 5 1s or 4 1s, and the other one was a 6. So it was a case of either take the shit dice or get hammered on one of the tracks, right? So when that happens, you just feel that that turn is completely wasted. And if it happens on a turn where the modifier for the active gyrodynes is maybe 2 or 3 or whatever it is, then you're going to feel like you've been punched in the stomach. But then I suppose that is par for the course with these dry Euro games, right? So the final thing that we don't like about this game, and this is a really unusual one because we don't think the game's long enough, right? It's one of them games where you're just starting to get into the swing of things. You're just starting to get your juices flowing, so to speak, and then the game's over. So it would have been better to maybe have extended this by maybe 1 or 2 turns, maybe have 10 turns instead of 8, because the game, in my opinion, is that good that we just want more of it, you know? So to summarise, Is Pulsar 2849 worth your bother today and in the future? So we're going to say yes, absolutely, right? As far as dry, lifeless, themeless Euros go, this probably wins the prize for having the most options and most variability. It looks bland, it looks like it's just crawled out of a skip, and the theme for me doesn't really translate that well. The mechanics are detached from the theme. You know, you're flying your spaceship around, but it doesn't really feel like you're exploring anything. You're just flipping tiles, trying to gather as many points as possible, and the theme just becomes irrelevant as you're playing a game. But that's par for the course with these sort of Euro games nowadays, right? If you like Stefan Feld games and you like any of those other point salad games, yeah, then this is one that you definitely want to check out. So there you go, that's a Pulsar 2849. Remember, if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to this channel. Leave a comment in that section down below. Hit the like button, all that bollocks. See you next time.